Commission will now come to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Gail Schick,
Present.
Mike McWilliams.
Present.
Jerry Bushelman.
Present.
Charles Schinner. Steve Sheffel.
Here.
Ron Harding.
Here.
Tim Annabelle.
Here.
Thanks, Patty. First agenda item is a review of the agenda itself by the Planning Commission for any addition of items or new business to be added to the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the agenda as proposed.
Second it.
It's been moved by Commissioner Sheffel, second by Commissioner Harding, that we accept the agenda as presented. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
I've gotten Mr. Annabelle's, I may not have hit the voting quick enough, so go on ahead and vote again, please.
Vote early, vote often.
Yeah, yes, please. Thank you.
I'm not seeing the vote.
I'm not quite sure how to show that.
Oh, there
to
it is,
you.
okay.
Show
And
that?
motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Next item is public invited to be heard. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to present something to the commission board that is not on tonight's agenda, now is the time to do so. Anyone that has a non-agenda item or at a public hearing, when you come to the podium, if you give us your name and address, and you have a 3-minute time limit for your presentation or your comments. And I'm making an assumption that still works with the red light, yellow light, okay? So when you get to 2.5 minutes, you will get a yellow light on the podium, and at the 3-minute mark, you'll get the red light, so you know what your timing is. So if anyone has an item they wish to present to the commission tonight, now is the time to do so. Seeing there be none, we'll move on to the next item, which is the consent calendar. Tonight's consent calendar consists of the approval of the minutes of the September 21st, 2016 meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we accept the minutes of September 21st, 2016 as written.
I second the motion.
Been moved by Commissioner Sheffel, second by Commissioner Harding, that we accept the minutes and the consent calendar as presented. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. And the motion carries unanimously. Moving into the board action items. First item is a site plan presentation for River Valley Subdivision, Lot 5, Christian Brothers Automotive. Josh.
We're figuring it out.
All right.
I apologize.
Yeah, everybody's looking at our controls here.
Sorry, it's all new. There we
Yes,
go.
it is.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, Planning Commissioners. As stated, this is a site plan presentation for the River Valley Crossing Subdivision Lot 5 for Christian Brothers Automotive. This application is being reviewed in accordance with Article 9 of Chapter 17 of the Municipal Code, which outlines the purpose and procedures of the Qualified Commercial and Industrial Site Plan process. The applicant, represented by Mr. Todd Rand and Mr. Jonathan Wakefield, is proposing a new site development in the River Valley Crossing subdivision. Here's the site vicinity map showing the site. Kind of the yellow box there on your screen is just south of and adjacent to Main Street. The site is zoned general commercial, surrounded by other general commercial zone properties. The site is also located within the commercial corridor plan. The application as presented is in conformance with the commercial corridor plan. Some site characteristics, and for reference, Main Street or north is to the right of your screen in this illustration. There's a new 4,900 square foot automotive repair store. There are 29 dedicated off-street parking spaces, which include 2 accessible parking spaces on the north of the site here. This on the south of this site or left of your screen, this is a private drive accessing the site. And to make it a little bit more confusing, the screen flips, so north is on the left of your screen, Main Street. Here's the landscape plan, and and over 30% of the site is to be landscaped. Large amount of landscaping up along the north, screening the headlights from Main Street, and then also around the perimeter of the site, helping screen that parking and the drive aisles for the site. Building and structural details include the use of brick as the primary facade element and limestone veneer as a wainscoting. There are decorative tile and architectural precast keystones integrated into the brick facade. And on the east side, there are 9 overhead garage door bays that face the parking lot. So this is the colored elevation for your reference. And this is a site plan presentation, so no action is necessary on this item. The application is in conformance with various elements of the 2016 comprehensive plan as well as the Vision 2025 document. With that, I'd like to note that the applicants are present to answer any specific questions you may have on the site. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Any questions, comments from the board?
I like it.
Yeah, I think it's a good business coming into town. The site plan looks good to me. I didn't have any issues with it, so. But the color that's shown here, that is the actual color?
I believe those are the colors, yes, sir.
Yeah, sometimes we haven't got that far yet, so.
Yeah, these are the proposed colors for the site. So yeah,
Okay.
the roof is kind of a greenish color and then the earth tone colors on the building
Okay.
facade itself.
Okay, well, I'm good with it.
I like it. Good.
I see a lot of this, so we must be good to go.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Josh. Moving on to our next item, which is a preliminary major subdivision for Windshire Park subdivision, 4th filing. Josh, you still got the floor.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair, Planning Commissioners. As stated, this is a preliminary major subdivision for the Windshire Park subdivision 4th filing. This application is being reviewed in accordance with Article 4 of Chapter 17 of the Municipal Code. This outlines the purpose and procedures of the major subdivision process. The applicant, Mr. Alan Polero, represented by Mr. Jim Doyle, has submitted a preliminary major subdivision plat known as the Windshire Park subdivision 4th filing. The subdivision encompasses approximately 8.5 acres. Shown here on your screen is the yellow box, right within the Windshire Park subdivision, just north of the Windsor Meadows, workforce housing, and west of and adjacent to 15th Street. And for reference, 15th Street is called out Main Street here on the bottom of your screen. The site is zoned residential mixed use, surrounded by other mixed uses, including multifamily to the south, residential to the west and to the north of the site.
And north is up on the maps on this
And
one, huh?
north is up on the map, as it is on this plat image as well. This, sorry, I lost my train of thought. The plat includes a total of 57 multifamily plat lots for townhome development, and also includes privately owned and maintained internal streets and landscaped areas. They're all as platted tracts on the plat. The applicant held a neighborhood meeting on February 9th, 2016. There were about 3 neighbors in attendance. There were no major issues or concerns raised during that meeting. Notes are included in your packet for reference as well. The application is consistent with the growth framework and residential area framework goals and objectives of the 2016 comprehensive plan, as well as the housing quality and diversity goals of the Vision 2025 document. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the preliminary major subdivision as presented, subject to the following condition, and that is that all remaining Planning Commission and staff comments be addressed in the final major subdivision application. This time, staff requests that the following be entered into the record: staff memorandum and supporting documents, as well as the recommendation. I'd like to note that the applicant and representative are present to answer any specific questions you may have on the plat. Following this item, we will get into more of the site plan details for this site. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Questions, comments from the commission?
I just have a curiosity question as far as pricing of the units.
If we can discuss that now with the plat, or if you want to
wait.
wait to the site
Yeah,
plan.
why don't we
can
do
have
the site plan?
applicant come up
We'll
for
address
that
that.
item.
So any other questions except that?
No, I'm good then. That'll do it.
Okay. Anybody have anything?
Wait. No.
Okay.
Not after that.
No. If we, you have a question, Jerry?
No question.
Okay, no questions here. If we don't have any questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I would move that we approve the preliminary major subdivision plat, Windshire Park subdivision, for filing as presented by the planning staff.
Second?
Moved by Commissioner Sheffel, second by Commissioner Annable, that we approve the preliminary major subdivision as presented by staff with the noted condition. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes, those opposed vote no. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the next agenda item, excuse me, the preliminary site plan for Windshire Park subdivision for the filing. Josh, you got it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Plan Commissioners. As stated, this is the preliminary site plan for the Windshire Park subdivision fourth filing.
I can't get rid of the voting page
Approved.
for the life of me. Cody, Brian,
I know you're listening.
You maybe voted already, I don't know.
oh no, they're supposed to be back there saving me. I'm pushing all the right buttons. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, sometimes there's a little delay in there, I noticed.
No,
It's very
it's pretty instantaneous, so I must be doing something wrong.
No.
I know, it's hard to believe.
This site plan is being reviewed in accordance with Article 7 of Chapter 17, which outlines the purpose and procedures of the site plan application process. Similar to the preliminary plat, the site is located adjacent to 15th Street within the Windshire Park subdivision. And the applicant, Mr. Alan Polero, represented by Mr. Jim Doyle, are proposing the site development for this townhome development. The site does encompass 8.5 acres. Oops, clicked one too many times. And the site is zoned residential mixed use, surrounded by other mixed uses, which include the multifamily to the south, residential, single-family residential to the west and to the north. Here's the site plan. Quick reference, north is on the top of your screen. So, site characteristics include 57 townhome units with attached garages. There are 114 garage parking spaces and 32 dedicated off-street guest parking spaces, which include accessible parking spaces. Approximately 50% of the site is to be HOA maintained open space and landscaping. Approximately 50% of the site is HOA maintained private drives and parking areas. In addition, there are sidewalks and trail connections throughout the site and out to the perimeter sidewalk and trail system, Windshire Drive, Guardian Drive, and 15th Street. So you can see a lot of the landscaping is kind of focused around the perimeter of the site and then also internal in the open spaces. The little zoomed in screen here shows the screening around the proposed mechanical units. You can see that the applicant is working to screen the AC unit, gas meters, those types of accessory uses. Building characteristics, if I could talk right, excuse me, include lap siding as the predominant facade element. There's gable shingle siding on most gable ends, dry stack stone siding around doorways, columns, and fireplace vents, as well as decorative windows, doors, trims, and accent elements. Here's the first elevation detail. And it's worth noting that the elevations, the material, the pattern is the same, whether it's the 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit, or 5-unit buildings that are spaced throughout the site. Here are the side elevations. Kind of blends in with the existing residential uses out in that neighborhood. And also remember there is landscaping too on these sides of the buildings too. They'll help break up some of the siding. The application is consistent with various elements of the 2016 comprehensive plan, as well as the housing quality and diversity goals of the Vision 2025 document. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the preliminary site plan as presented, again subject to the following condition, and that is that all remaining Planning Commission and staff comments be addressed in the final site plan application. At this time, staff requests that the following be entered into the record: staff memorandum and supporting documents, as well as the recommendation. And again, I would like to note that the applicants are present to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Questions from the commission or comments? Ron, you had one earlier.
Again, just curiosity as to the pricing of the units.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Planning Commission members. My name is Jim Doyle with the TB Group in Berthoud. And at this time, it's undetermined what the pricing will be due to market conditions and things like that. But it will be a, let me just say a little bit higher end.
We're hoping to try and keep them around the 300,000 price point.
Could I get your name and address also, sir?
Good bet. It's Alan Polero, 1516 Landon Court here in Windsor.
Thanks, Alan.
You're welcome.
So about 300 ballpark.
That's the hope.
A new affordable housing. Good.
Yeah. That's what it's gonna be.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the commission?
I've got a few.
Okay.
I couldn't tell from the site plan, on 15th Street, what are you looking at? The backs of the rear side of the buildings? Are all the garages on the inside, courtyard area?
Yes, it would be the backside, but we're trying to heavily screen that, as Josh mentioned, with
Okay.
landscaping. And for the final, we will include fencing with that too. So we're still trying to determine if we're gonna have a lower fence on the perimeter with columns to match what's going on in Windshire right
Okay.
now. And possibly some privacy fences around the backs of the units for the,
Then in terms of parking, you've got so many spots for the public. Can you also park in front of the garage doors?
you can, yes, and that was included in our number, including the garage parking plus the driveway parking, and then the 32 extra spaces that we have, so.
So for each unit you'll have 2-car garage and 2 additional spaces.
Correct.
So 4
Correct, yep.
spots.
And then Josh, you mentioned in passing the connectivity to the surrounding areas. Could you walk through that again? Because that was a critique of the comp plan folks about connectivity with projects, to
Yeah.
adjacent spaces.
Yep, so there's an existing town sidewalk and trail along 15th Street. They are proposing a connection right here in the center. That'll help a lot of these residents that live in the center of the development to get out to that trail network instead of kind of winding around and out to Windshire Drive or Guardian Drive where there would be the sidewalk. There are also, I believe, attached sidewalks internal, and with these being private drives too, you tend to see a lot of people walk on private drives as well for these types of developments. So there's kind of an internal network and that branches out and connects out to the external network. There's nothing proposed on the western side since those are all single-family homes right there. There's nothing to tie into on that side. So that will be kind of back of these townhome units facing the back of the single-family units.
Will this be part of the Windshire Park Metro District, or is it going to be separate like the apartments are just to the south?
It will be part of the Metro District, and also to add, residents of this development will be able to use the amenities in the park and the pool area there as being members of the Metro District, so.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the preliminary site plan for Windshire Park subdivision for the filing as submitted along with staff comments.
Second it.
It's been moved by Commissioner Sheffel, seconded by Commissioner Harding, that we approve the preliminary site plan as presented by staff with the staff comments noted. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Next agenda item is site plan presentation for Cornerstone First Filing Subdivision Lot 1, Block 1. Carlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. The item before you is for information only, and I'll note that this is an existing facility. The improvements, pull this out. Sorry about moving on. So this application is, again, a qualified commercial and industrial site plan. It has been reviewed in accordance with section 17.910 of the municipal code. The site is located on the northeast corner of Cornerstone Drive and Eastman Park Drive, just west of State Highway 257. The site is zoned light industrial and surrounded by commercial zoning to the south, an existing shopping center, residential mixed use, which is a multifamily complex to the southwest. Directly west is a church, and northwest and north is single-family residential. To the east is industrial, as well as commercial. North is to the
North is
left
to the
of the
north.
screen. So this shows the existing facility. The property consists of 13.3 acres of land, and there's no proposal for any development on the northern portion of this site. There are no building additions with this redevelopment. The exterior improvements included drainage improvements, storm drain. There'll be additional landscaping, parking upgrades, lighting upgrades, and some screening of ground-mounted mechanical. The square footage of the building is 140,000 square feet. It was originally developed as 50,000 square feet for manufacturing, so the use is not changing. This is a large tenant finish, and the interior is being remodeled for office, manufacturing, and laboratories. This slide here shows the area where there will be some drainage improvements as well as landscaping. There's also a median here that will be added, and there's already been some sidewalks and public improvements in this area that have been added. And here you can see where new trees will be put in to bring the site closer to compliance with the existing code. Let me go back here. Some key points as far as adjacent right-of-way improvements, drainage, including driveway access points on Cornerstone Drive, adjacent sidewalks, accessible ramps, and landscaping. On-site, there'll also be parking lot and landscape upgrades, and again, screening of mechanical equipment located adjacent to State Highway 257. And the building details include the manufacturing, office, laboratory areas. That concludes my presentation. I'll just note that this does conform with the comprehensive plan goals and policies related to redevelopment of an area with existing infrastructure. The applicant is here and does have a brief slideshow that he'd like to share, introducing the company and some of the improvements that they'll be making.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Charles Mays, and I'm representing Tomar Pharmaceutical, based out of 1201 Cornerstone Drive, among other sites. It's funny because I'm not usually considered brief in a presentation, so I apologize. I'm going to try to go as fast as I can, but I know time is precious. So I just wanted to give a little background about Tolmar and what we do. You may not have heard of us, to be honest, and we're a pharmaceutical company. Wow, that's a touchy mouse. We basically develop, manufacture, and distribute branded pharmaceuticals. And so we have sites around Fort Collins and now in Windsor. And so our products are mainly focused on urology, oncology, and dermatology. All right, here we go. One thing I wanted to point out, and this is a slideshow that's pulled and pared down. I wanted to highlight Eligard, which is one of our key pharmaceutical products that we sell, and it's for prostate cancer. It's a slow-release microsphere type of drug, and I try not to get too much into the pharmaceuticals, but it's a really neat and cool application because instead of going to the doctor and continuously getting dosages, it slowly releases for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. So you get an injection and it slowly releases to combat against prostate cancer. Really neat stuff. So cutting edge technology. So just want to go over just some employees and just show you some of our growth, which is highly impressive. We're up to 612 employees. Just, a few years ago, we were just based out of Fort Collins. Now we have even a site out in Chicago distributing and selling our products, trying to brand more under our own name. Also, we have the 2 sites here. So we have an Eastman Park facility now. It's mainly office and warehouse, and we have this site that we're talking about today, which is manufacturing, offices, laboratory, and a little bit of warehouse. Just shows our growth direction. Here's just a quick overview of facilities and capabilities. So here's some capabilities of our sites, creams and ointments, gels, topical oral solutions, and injectables. The drug I was talking about associated with prostate cancer is considered an injectable. As you know, these things have to be made in a very clean and sterile environment, and I'll just touch on that as we go. So here's sites that we have, again, heavily based out of Fort Collins, and we're moving that a lot of to Windsor. Some of it's expansion, and some of it is just wanting to get out here into more of a consolidated space because we're spread across 10 facilities right now. And so let's just talk about the Windsor facilities. We're here in Windsor. Here is the Fort Collins. Estimated square footage, 140, 145. But what we're planning on, right now we have, give or take, 80 to 100 employees here as we're growing and remodeling and developing. And just transferring products that we currently make in Fort Collins to out here takes years. It's not just a quick FDA approval and we're going. I mean, we sell to multiple countries. We have to get approvals for them just to manufacture in different sites. So as we transfer out here, that number will ramp up, and we're looking at roughly 100 to 125 per shift working out of this site. And so that's where that 400 translates to of employees at this one site. Just a few pictures of some of the things we've done. I can talk for hours about just the improvements we've done to the site because it was an old box company. And we have clean utilities now. To make pharmaceutical products, you have to have certain types of water. It has to go through certain purification steps, distillation steps to just start making your product and generating product. Obviously, some small warehouse space. You can see just a snapshot of some of the clean environments. We have to make these sites with epoxy paint, epoxy floor, and hardtop ceilings or ceiling tiles that are sealed so you can clean them on a reoccurring basis. A little bit of manufacturing equipment down in the bottom there. If you keep going, you can see some more manufacturing equipment, some sampling scales. What we do is bulking meaning you're making the cake batter, so to speak, before you go in and fill vials or fill tubes of that certain pharmaceutical product. Really neat stuff. Just a little expansion of what we're doing at Eastman Park. It's roughly 40,000 square foot of office space and 40,000 square foot of warehouse space. We acquired this building last year. We've kind of focused on the warehouse to get it up and going, clean the floors, did some painting, just some touch up. We put air conditioning, our HVAC in that building recently because we have to control our environments when we store our products or even store components. We're looking at about approximately 150 associates. Tony and I were, another gentleman I work with, we're counting approximate just seating space, and that's 144. We estimated what we would have in the warehouse. It could be 10 or 15. We don't have the exact number. But we're excited about this building as well as we're moving into it. Currently, we only house about 20 or 30 of our own employees. And we still have a couple of lease or tenants that are leasing from us, because when we acquired the building, it had some tenants. So just a couple things, our strengths. I always like to highlight our pipeline. Tony and I, again, a coworker, were looking at the slides, and we had a list of all these items on our pipeline, and over the next 10 years of what's coming down, not just the current stuff that we're making and expanding, but all the items that are in our development labs that we're looking to file in the next 10 years. Very impressive. Just a proven development and clinical regulatory experience, also manufacturing experience that we're bringing to the table. Just a quick summary, 612 employees now, but just continuing to grow. We're not just transferring jobs from Fort Collins out here. We're expanding out here. Just the number of countries that we're distributing to, we're looking to be at 76 countries in 2016. And we're really kind of in a niche space of what we're distributing. Some things we have competitors, others we don't. And I think we're doing a really good job at playing to our strengths. That was it. I tried to rush.
No, you did a good job. Brevity's good,
So,
but it's not your DeLine Box Company anymore, is it?
no, not even close. So,
Okay.
Is this a privately held company, or is this?
it is
publicly
privately
traded?
held company, yes. It's held by our board that owns multiple pharmaceutical companies. And so this is one portion of that company.
Any other questions?
Traffic, with increased traffic in and out of the warehouse, the 140,000 square foot warehouse?
On that, over
On,
here,
on Cornerstone?
on Cornerstone, the 40,000 square foot is actually on Eastman Drive.
Right, but the new facility on Cornerstone?
On Cornerstone?
You're not gonna have,
There will be some increased in traffic, yes. I can't even quantify that, but there is, trucks delivering and picking up. Over the last few years with construction, we've had a relatively solid amount of traffic anyway, bringing in construction materials and hauling off. So I can't say it's more, but it would be more directed at production and manufacturing.
I mean, during normal business hours, the truck traffic, or is it gonna be all 24 hours a day in and out?
Yeah, well, we would be manufacturing at least 24/5. Obviously, it depends on business needs, but the truck traffic should only be during business hours.
The entrance on Eastman, I assume that's a right-in, right-out only, what it looks like. Any hazardous materials or hazardous discharges?
So we do have some hazardous materials that we use in manufacturing or cleaning. Obviously, we have 3 safety engineers and two safety engineers and a manager, and I think we have certain permits. I'm not fully familiar with our certain permits on discharge, but we continuously meet on anything that we need to bring to your attention.
Any other questions, comments?
Just a comment, I think it looks like good, highly skilled primary jobs for Windsor. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it to Windsor.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Communications from Planning Commission. Tim, you have anything?
No.
Ron?
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
I want to congratulate Josh for being selected as from Biz Week. One of the 40 under 40 applicants are recognition for people who are in that age group who are doing well or significantly well in their jobs and are standing out in their field. Not to be a farmer or anything like that, but congratulations. That's pretty good honor to be on that list, so thank you. Hats off to you. Jerry, any communications?
No, not tonight.
Not tonight, but another night? Mike, anything? Communication from town board liaison, Ken.
A week ago Saturday, we had our town board meeting with district staff, department heads to work on the draft budget for 2017, which you will get a presentation of on, I believe, November 2nd. Staying with the philosophy of Windsor of being conservative with our with our money, but also building in flexibility and addressing key points from our strategic as well as other plans. And you'll see all that on November 2nd.
Okay. Anything else?
When does the budget get approved then?
November, I don't know the exact date. I
Okay.
think it's probably
November
November,
Okay, it's after the second.
November
Okay, gotcha.
28th,
All right,
Thanksgiving.
Communication from staff. Carlin?
Just wanted to let you know that this time of year is when the comprehensive plan will go through an annual update or annual updates. And because the comprehensive plan was just adopted back in April, there aren't any updates that you'll be seeing this year.
Yeah, you wouldn't think there would be, huh? But, okay, that's good. Anything else? Josh?
Do have one item for the commission. If you recall, Highland Mills Golf Course 11th filing. It is townhome development. The final plat and final site plan were approved about a year ago, 8 months ago, something like that. The site is located, so here we are, Interstate 25, Crossroads Boulevard on the south here. One of these properties right in here off Colonial Drive. As you zoom in, you can see all the lots pop up, so right off Colonial and Fairgrounds. The applicant, they're working on one of their buildings right now. You see it going up, and they just submitted to us a concept to change their elevation details. So this is what was approved for their elevation. See if I can try and zoom in a little bit to get you a little bit more context. So lap siding using kind of the shake shingles on the eave ends of the building. And then you can kind of see some of the stonework on some of these short columns on the front, as well as some of these vertical stone elements on some of the building facade. They're proposing, here are the colors, but this kind of detail with their building. You can see different kind of stone and column, various roof elements that have been added to the site, as well as materials, kind of doing more of a vertical batten board kind of siding look. Some couple of these overhangs that extend over the garage and over a couple of the porches have kind of a metal look to them. It kind of reminded me of more in the mountains, what you see up there for architecture and design. So this is something the applicant is proposing. They state that it's a better looking product and a higher quality product, and as staff kind of looking at it, I would agree that they're enhancing a lot of the elements, adding more dormers and again more roof articulation and building articulation on various elements. Let me go to the next page. See back by the garages, a couple additions here over the garages where before it's just flat right across there. So really the question to the Planning Commission, if you don't see any major issues, with this concept, we'd present a similar way to the town board, see if they have any issues or concerns. Since it was an approved site plan through the Planning Commission and town board, just wanted to get before you, get your feedback, and if there were no concerns, we would handle it administratively by just having the applicant update those sheets. Nothing changes to the building footprints or anything else with the site, it's just the elevation details that are changing. So if there are any concerns or issues, that's something that we would have to schedule and have come before the Planning Commission as a formal action item.
Yeah, from what they had before, if you're seeing that as an upgrade and enhancement, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Here you can see that kind of flat roof line along the garages,
Yeah, that dresses it up a lot.
and that's
more.
what goes to with some various elements. So.
Yeah, it breaks up that monotony.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, him as well. I like
Okay,
it.
good. I see a lot of head nods, we're good to go.
All right. Thank you very much, and that is all I have for communications.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Scott, I know you have something here.
I just got a couple of items in the first one that was in your packet is the oil and gas operator registrations and 5-year plans. As the materials state, this is a reaction to the governor's task force and the on oil and 4 registrations from Great Western Oil and Gas Extraction and PDC Energy and Kerr-McGee Oil and Gas. So we've got 4 registered operators, and another rule also allows the town to ask those registered operators to submit their plans for the next 5 years in the area. And so we did that, and those maps and correspondence were included in the packet. Essentially, to summarize, PDC and Kerr-McGee indicated that they don't have any immediate plans to do any exploration in Windsor or act on their lease holdings. However, Great Western and Extraction, who we're all very familiar with through their conditional use grants that have gone through the town, they're working on some pad sites in the area, and those are in the materials. Of course, the 5-year plans are only as good as the snapshot they are today. The market can change, and those plans change very according to the market. So just providing this information to the Planning Commission, it's something that's part of the new rules, and we'll periodically be requesting this information and providing it to both Planning Commission and Town Board. So unless there are any questions about oil and gas?
Questions from Scott?
And then, sorry?
I said, Steve, you disappoint me, you didn't have a question.
Okay, and I would just echo the chair's congratulations to Josh. It is a great recognition. The Biz West 40 under 40. It's something we're very, very proud that Josh achieved that. So, also want to welcome Mr. McWilliams. Thank you for being here and sitting the first meeting.
I get you trial by fire here,
Yeah.
Mike?
Kind of.
And then just lastly, as Mr. Bennett pointed out, we'll be having the budget presentation on November 2nd. And instead of having that at a work session prior to the regular meeting, that was the only date that we were able to arrange the joint meeting with Severance to discuss the proposed amendment to the IGA. So we'll be having the 6 o'clock work session with Town Board as well as Severance Planning Commission and Town Board to discuss that IGA amendment. And then as soon as that work session the joint meeting is completed, we'll move into our regular meeting. And right now, that just consists of the budget presentation with Mr. Moyer. So
Maybe we can just get that broadcast to us, huh?
broadcast.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
So Scott, are there budget information we'll get in advance?
Yes, we actually have that information. We just haven't put that packet together yet. So there will be information both on the budget as well as the packet information for the joint work session with Severance. So that'll be going out shortly.
Okay. Anything else, Scott?
No, thank you.
Any questions on what Scott had, or good to go? Okay. Patty, anything? Great job running the new equipment here.
Thank you for being patient with me.
Well,
I now
I
know
think
the
it's
order
better than
that I
having to
push
raise
the
our hand
buttons
and
in.
everything, so it works well. So, good job. Anything else, gentlemen?